Hey y'all, today I'm going to be making chicken and dumplings, and I have made them before basically like this, but I'm making them today, and if you missed that video I thought, well, I would just show you again what I do. So I'll just bring you on down to the pot and we'll get started. And I have a pot of water. It's about not quite half full, and depending on how many dumplings, how much chicken you use would be dependent on how much water you use. So I guess you just kind of have to figure out, you know, how much broth you want compared to your dumplings and all. But remember that the water will be absorbed by the dumplings, so you need to be sure and have enough water. So to this water, and one more thing, you can add chicken broth instead of water, but I'm using dark meat chicken, legs and thighs, and they have a lot of flavor, so I don't need chicken broth. I can just use water. And to that, I'm going to add pepper. And we like kind of a lot of pepper. And I am going to get the lighting fixed in here where it's not so dark. So I do apologize for that. I'm adding salt. And you add pepper and salt depending on how much you like pepper and salt. I'm also putting sage in. I think it really makes the chicken and dumplings better, and that's 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons. If you don't like sage, just don't put it in. Then I'm going to add some carrots. I also like to add celery, but I'm out of celery, so that'll just have to do. And then I'm going to add my chicken, and it's just the legs and thighs. And I'm just going to stick it down in the water. That one looks a little bit gross, so I'm going to cut that part off. Plus, I'm going to rinse it. And I'm going to add 2 packs of the chicken because I'm going to make a different recipe with chicken also. And instead of turning around and boiling chicken again, I'll just go ahead and boil all this at once. And Randy and Kaylin are much more of a chicken fan than I am. I mostly just like the dumplings. So I'm going to put this in, let it come to a boil. Then I'm going to let it boil for probably a couple hours because I want the meat to just be falling off tender. And when I get to that point, I'm going to take the chicken out and pull it off the bone. And when I get the chicken off the bone, I will come back and show you the next step. Okay, the chicken has finished cooking and I took it off the bone. So now we will start with the rest of the process of making the chicken and dumplings. So sometimes it's hard to position this camera at a good angle, but here is the broth that is bubbling. And to that, we're going to add our chicken. And I have taken some out of here because I'm going to use it for another recipe like I told you a little bit ago. But that's plenty of chicken. And Randy and Kaylin really enjoy the chicken and the chicken and dumplings, and I'm not that big of a fan. Let me grab a spoon. And that broth is good and rich and really good. Now I'm going to put 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. There's one. Here's 2. I'm going to stir that up. And while I'm making the dumplings, this will have a chance to come back up to simmer. And this soup really gives it a good chicken taste and makes it creamier and all that. So I will let that come back up to a bubble or a simmer. And now over here, and I sure do hope you can see, this is just there. Maybe that is good. But what I'm going to do is make the dumplings, and I make my dumplings usually just like I make my biscuits. And I never measure. So I'm just going to put some well, I put probably about 2½ cups of flour in there. And then I'm at the end of my Crisco, so I'm going to have to dig around and find enough. Just a little bit more. And you just I put my fingers in, and then I twist my fingers around, kind of trying to get the lard mingled in with the flour. And you kind of want a like a cornmeal type consistency with it. And so I've got that done, and now I'm going to add some milk. And you want to be sure and not put too much milk in. You can come back and add more milk if you need to. I believe it's going to need a little more. And you just mix it around until you have one ball that's holding together well. You don't want it too dry where it's trying to fall apart or anything. And so this feels real good. And you can see that I have the ball. Now what I'm gonna do is just take some flour, and I'm using self-rising flour. If you use all-purpose flour, you're gonna need to add baking soda and or baking powder and salt. To me, it's just easier to go ahead and use the self-rising. And I put sprinkled a little flour over this, so when I get it out, I can kind of roll it, each little one in a little ball, and the extra flour is going to help make the broth thick. And it's not started simmering yet, and it needs to be simmering. So let me give it just a few minutes to start simmering, and I'll come back and we'll drop the dumplings into the that. So the broth is simmering now, so we'll go ahead and start adding our dumplings. And you can make these as big or small as you want. And it's wanting to fall apart a little bit. And I'm going to do mine about like that and just drop it where I see that it's bubbling. And so once I get all the dumplings in, I'm going to cover it and let it simmer gently for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to cut the burner off, and don't move your pot. Just let it sit there for about 10 more minutes, and then your dumplings will be ready. So after these have cooked 10 and set 10, I will be back and we'll see what they look like. Okay, the chicken and dumplings are ready, and I will show you what they look like. Here they are in the pot, all ready to eat. And you can see that the dumplings swell up from the juice. And anyway, I'm gonna put some in the bowl here. I really love the broth on them. Okay, there it is. If you can see. And I'm gonna take a taste. We really love chicken and dumplings here. This bowl is hot. I think I'm gonna have to set it down. Usually I don't blow stuff enough and then I burn my mouth. The dumplings are nice and fluffy. It's so good. That broth is really good on them. I didn't eat any chicken. I just don't really want any, but I know it's good. Anyway, that's it. I hope you make some for yourself and your family. I don't think that you would be disappointed in this recipe. And thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Do something nice for yourself and someone else too. Bye-bye.